Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make Haleem. Haleem is a very traditional Pakistani and Indian dish, and it's a really rich kind of dish made out of pulses and meat. So the first thing you're going to need is the black lentil, which is a split and a peeled, like the skinned kind of version of it, 1 cup, which also known as urad dal or dal mash. The next we're gonna need a yellow lentil, which also known as dal mung. It's also 1 cup. The next we have split chickpea. It's also 1 cup. And then we have yellow lentil, red lentil, sorry, and it's also 1 cup. I'm using some oats over here, just regular oats, 1 cup. And other than that, we have pearl barley, and it's also 1 cup over here. We have some rice over here, long grain rice. I'm using half 1 cup of long grain rice. So these are all the pulses in the lentil you guys are gonna be needing for this recipe. And yeah, these are all except rice. The rest of all the dals are 1 cup. Here we have beef, 2 kg, and other than that we are using oil. So this oil is 1 cup only for the beef, and for the turka, which we're going to do it on top of the haleem, which we're going to need some more oil, which I'm going to show you guys later. Here we have some ginger garlic paste. We're going to need a lot of ginger garlic, so we're using about 3 tablespoons in here. Other than that, these are all the spices we're gonna be needing in this recipe. First, we have salt over here, and we're using 1.5 tablespoons of salt. So these are for the pulses. And here we have whole spice. We have couple of black pepper, whole black pepper, and we have cumin seeds, about half teaspoon of cumin seeds. We have some turmeric powder over here, 1 tablespoon. We have paprika powder, 1.5 tablespoon. We have crushed red chilies, 1.5 tablespoon. And here we have garam masala, also known as mixed spice, which is also available in all Indian stores, Pakistani stores, in all kind of superstores, supermarkets. Really easily available, but it's a must. So try to get that, otherwise you won't get the flavor. We need onions. We're gonna be using 2 onions, one for the beef and one for the tarka right on top. And here we have some garnishing. So we have a lemon. Since we are making a really big huge pot of haleem, I'm going to squeeze all the lemon out in there, and we're going to be using the whole lemon in here. Other than that, we have some green coriander and some green chilies, so that's also for garnishing. I didn't measure them. I just took a bunch of green coriander and just a couple of green chilies. These green chilies are frozen. So these are all the ingredients. If I'm missing something, I will let you during my recipe. And yeah, these are all the things we're going to be needing. And we're also using 2 pressure cookers. These are just normal pressure cookers. I'm using one for the lentils, so I'm going to be soaking all the lentil in a pressure cooker except our oats. So I'm gonna leave our oats out, and except our oats, we're gonna be washing all the lentils and soaking them for about 2 hours in our pressure cooker, and then drain all the water out. And afterwards, then we're gonna be cooking it up until they're all nice and soft. And then later we're gonna add our oats when they're almost done and about 10% left. Then we're gonna add our oats, because oats takes really less time to cook. So that's why we're not gonna be adding our oats in here. And I'm using a pressure cooker, but you guys can use anything if you guys don't want to use the pressure cooker, or if you guys don't know how to use a pressure cooker for lentils, because they do kind of froth a little bit, and that could be dangerous. So I'm using pressure cooker because I know how to use the pressure cooker for lentils. But if it's your first time, I would recommend using a pot. So right now I'm adding all my lentils right in my pressure cooker. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna wash them with lukewarm water and soak them for about an hour, sorry, about for 2 hours. If you're using a pot, I would recommend the split chickpea lentil. Leave it separately and cook it into separate pot, because that usually take longer. So I'm gonna be filling my pressure cooker up until here and soaking all my grains in here and leaving them for about 2 hours soaked, and then I'm gonna start cooking. But again, I want to tell you guys that it do froth a little bit, and that could in kind of a little bit danger. So you can use a pot if you don't know how to use a pressure cooker. And once my lentil is almost done, then I'm gonna at the end add our oats in there. So the split chickpea lentil takes a long time, so make sure to put that in a separate pot. But here I'm doing all of them together. I soak them for about 2 hours, and I drain the water out. I add more water, and I add two teaspoons of salt in here. So that's how much you're gonna need for your lentils, and that's good enough salt. And only salt we're gonna need for our lentils. So that's that. They're ready, and I'm not putting too much water in here. This is good enough because the lentils are gonna doubled in size. So that's that. Just put it away, and on that cooker I put my lentils, and on this one now I'm gonna get started with the beef. So first, what we're gonna need, we need to add oil. So the cup of oil I showed you guys earlier, put that in your cooker and heat it up on high heat for about 5 minutes. Let the oil just warm up a little bit, and then add your onions. Now here I want to tell you that the color of the onion is really important. So we're gonna golden brown our onions. It's really important to golden brown our onions before we add our meat in here, because that's how you get the really beautiful kind of golden color in your meat, and that's what you're looking for. So in Haleem, it's really important to brown your onions. Then add your beef. After when you add your beef, go ahead and add your ginger garlic paste. So there's a lot of ginger garlic paste because we need to get all this smell out of the beef, and coat it with a really good smell of ginger garlic. So after ginger garlic, we're gonna add all our spices in. So I want to show you this spice box. It called Haleem Mix, Haleem Masala. It's also available in all superstores, supermarket, which is a specific for this kind of Haleem or soup, lentil beef soup. So that's really good too, really convenient. You don't need to add any of these spices. Just add 2 to 3 tablespoons of that box spice. So right now I'm adding all my other spices. But if you want to use the box spice, just a warning, there is a lot of it's kind of a spicy on the spicy side. So if you don't like, just add the other spices, because it's going to be really spicy in the box spice. So I'm adding my garam masala, and if you want to use the box spice, just leave this one out and just add 2 tablespoons of the box one. But I have those ones, so I'm just gonna go ahead and add my own spices. I do make all my spices at home, like these mixed kind of spices. So that goes in there, and then we're gonna put our salt in here. And now we're gonna mix all of this, our ginger, garlic, onion, and all these spices in our beef really well. We're gonna cook it on a high heat for about 15 to 20 minutes. So then the beef start changing the color, as you guys can see in this video. So once it start changing all the colors, and when you feel like the red kind of color is vanished completely, or when you feel like when it start releasing the water from the beef, that's the time when we're gonna add more water and cook our beef away. So right now we're just cooking it for a bit, and here you can see it start releasing all the water. So now this is the time when we are going to add some more water, about 1 liter. Make sure your beef is all the way covered, and you can also check your spices at this time, your salt and your chilies, how spicy you would like your soup. So make sure your meat is covered. And this clip, as you guys can see, that my lentils are almost done cooking. They're about 90% done cooking, and now we're gonna add our oats in here. Since oats absorb so much water, we're gonna add some more here. I'm adding about ½ liter in here, and we're gonna cook it for about 10 minutes. Oats usually takes about 10 to 15 minutes to cook, so on really low heat we're gonna cook it away for about 10 minutes, and then our lentils are done. So that's what we're gonna use. So here is my meat cooking away in this pressure cooker, and my lentils are boiling here. In this frying pan, I add 1 cup of oil, and I sliced really thinly my onions, and that's what we're gonna use for tadka right on top. On our haleem once it's ready. So here's my meat. It's ready. It's cooked all the way through, really nice, soft. And here is all my pulses, my lentils. They're done cooking. They're really nice and soft, as you guys can see. So they're really easy to blend. I took this big pot. That's what I'm gonna be using it for, mixing both of them in here. So if you have something like that, use that. If not, then use your deep pots. I'm gonna put both of them one at a time in here, and then I'm gonna use my hand blender, and afterwards, when I'm done blending, I'm gonna put this tadka right on top, and then our dish is gonna be done. So that's how it's gonna go. So first, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add my meat in here. What I do usually, I do this part in my other blender, but this is my first time buying the hand blender, so this is my first time using the hand blender, so I'm gonna use the hand blender and blend my meat right in the pot. So I do recommend, I have another video on hand blender, and I do recommend this hand blender really well working. It blend my meat right in the pot, so it was so convenient. Usually it takes me about an extra 15 to 20 minutes for blending my meat in the blender, and as you guys can see, it did a really good job right in the pot. So I didn't had to do too much washing. It did it right there in the pot. But make sure to remove your excessive I just remove all the excessive stocking away from this, just to make sure, because it was kind of splashing a lot. So I just put my meat in here and then start blending it. So put back all your things. I just add all the stocking back in here, and afterwards, now I'm gonna add all my pulses in here. And in this clip, you guys can see it blends really well the meat, so it's ready to go. Now the next step is I'm gonna add all my pulses, all my lentils in here. And if you guys like your soups really chunky, then you guys can stop, just cook it for a bit, mix it really well. But since I'm gonna make it a little bit like on the smoother side, so I will use my hand blender for this job. So mix it a little bit, make sure they're well incorporate. But since I'm using my hand blender, I don't need to mix it. I'm gonna blend it around really well, and I'm gonna maybe leave a little bit chunks in there, but for most of the part I'm gonna be smoothing all the pulses, all the lentils out. So that's what we're gonna do in here. And you guys can see with this hand blender, it just start doing it so well, and it's really good because it just makes your meat and your all your lentils so quickly, and you don't need to mix it too much. So one tip for this hand blender, just go straight down, because with too much liquid, what it does, if you go sideways, it just start splashing away everywhere. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, just blend your meat and your lentils all together. And if you're using a wooden spoon, that would work perfectly too. I did that before with the wooden spoon. So yeah, that's basically it. What we're gonna do, the next step, that once you are done this part, then you can add your onion. This is the tadka I was talking earlier. So this is ready. I browned my onion, and make sure to brown your onion really well. Don't burn them, but brown them really dark brown. So that's what I did here, and we're just gonna mix our onion in here. And I also added the green chilies, and we're gonna mix it really well in here and cook it for about 10 to 15 minutes to thicken up a little bit more. So give it a stir, mix it really well, and cook it away. After when it's done cooking, you can go ahead and taste if there is, because usually the lentils are really plain, so usually sometimes it's really needed some more salt or some more red chilies if you want it a little bit spicy. So go ahead, check that, and if you think it's fine, then leave it as it is. But I'm gonna add a little bit more paprika because it's kind of really yellow, and I want a little bit of that a red kind of color in here, beautiful color in here. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I also added 1 teaspoon of that box spice, the Haleem spice I showed you guys earlier. So that's what I did, and you guys can see it's thicken up really well. So I just cook it for 15 more minutes, and it cooked really well in here, and it's ready to serve. A good thing about this kind of soup is that you can freeze it, and it freezes really well. There is no difference when you defrost it, thaw it. The taste is exactly the same as the fresh. So that's a really good thing about it. I garnish my green coriander right on top, and I'm gonna mix it a little bit because I personally like the flavor to go in there. And I'm gonna pour my lemon juice, this fresh lemon, right on top. So I'm gonna mix that in there, and I serve it a little bit in this bowl. So you can serve it with naan, with rice, with chapati, with anything. It's so good, delicious. And even with the spoon, if you want to just eat it with the spoon. So I hope you guys like this video. If you guys haven't, please subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and click on the notification button, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.